We'll see though. So, Orcs versus Zons. Bit of a rough match, especially if we carry on throwers, because like movement 5 is going to take a year to get down the pitch. Oh, you're playing the Zons. Alright, switch. I'd say the Zons are pretty favoured here. Go for defense first. Don't mind. Don't mind that. 4 blitzes, 3 rerolls, pretty standard. Looks like we have a loner already and no SPP. That's a bit of a sad time. Or is it an induced loner? It might be an induced one, I think. I'd probably only ever go 2 rerolls on Zons because you have all of the skills you need already, so probably get efficiency and drop to 2. But if you need 3, you need 3. Just a small thing, especially in CCL, like every 50k team value that you can get off is really useful. Like I run 2 rerolls on goblins in CCL, and they're like a very high variance rate. Amazon's quite low variance because you have a lot of dodge and a fair bit of block. Okay, got nice weather. So defense first. I think I'll just try and skim this because he did say that defense isn't so much of an issue. I'll just sit back and watch and have a look. I'll just quickly turn on audio as well because I'm done like that. Got audio. There we go. You can now hear the game. And it shouldn't peak over the top of me. I think my voice as well is kind of on a good level, so fingers crossed. We don't lose a player to the Mighty Blow Punch, that's always a good sign. And it looks like we should be able to just do the old elf screen all the way down, because we have dodge in every piece, so it's a pretty good roll out. This is a pretty well protected line. I can't see an easy way through here, so I wouldn't even try. I probably would just try and pick. Would I try and pick someone off? I think we have to try and pick off maybe one of this. Maybe get this Black Orc on the floor. That might be a play because they're only moving 4, right? If you can get this guy on the floor, then they sort of have to go this way. And you've sort of taken a Black Orc out of the play. So if we put a player like here, it's tough. It's tough because like you'd have to commit a lot to this one blitz. So I can understand why you did this. But we're gonna go for a 1 dice. I don't like the order. Like we could have moved this player here. She could have come up. Because if that rolls a skull, we don't really want to re-roll it. So that means the turn has to be finished by the time. Like she could have come here, and then we could have pulled back. But it's okay. So it's a good screen. We just need to keep this up for a few turns, and they should get desperate and make mistakes, which is what you want to see. Now, this is kind of the thing where you leave extra people in the front line, is that they get based. And that kind of sucks, right? Because you sort of want as few base points as possible so that you can do the turn with as few dice as possible. So maybe something to think about here, just like getting everyone on the, because if they're on the back, if they're on the back rank of the screen, then they can position, whereas if they're base, you sort of have to block. I like that's a very good tag there. That's quite smart. We can afford to start trading down. Yeah, this is good. Trading down the cage corners is really strong, provided they don't power you out. But if they don't power you out, then it's all good. Again, there's no easy blitz target, which does suck. Some people might have suggested targeting this guy and going for a 2 dice hit, which I think I probably would have done myself, because it doesn't look like we have a good blitz on here apart from this 1 die and rotate. So that might have been my play. Send these 2 into the back. Because normally when if you send people this way, it's bad. If you send them close to the board, it sort of forces the play. Looks like we're just going to try and 1 dice. Oh, we are going to go for this. Okay, good. Well spotted. This is a good play. Plodge on ball. And this 1 dice. I don't know about that 1 dice. And I'll tell you why. It's because like we have no one back here, so if this piece goes down, it's a bit of an issue. But I guess with 3 rerolls, we can afford to re-roll that and hope it doesn't snake. Yeah, 1 in 9 there. This is where they've made a mistake already, right? That should have just been a push off, and then they can come into the middle. So Rory, oh my goodness, what are you doing? This is a 1 in 9 away from a really good spot for you. Yeah, I don't. I think this is a misplay from them. Unless they want to hold, they can just hold here. It's turn 3. But now they're losing these trades. They've already lost a black hawk on the loner here. And they've made no forward progress. So this is a really good defensive start for you. Interesting basing. But that could just be a 2 dice block off. Let's see how you play this. Now it feels like we could have taken more space here. I think this square here, where I'm picking, that you could have started up here, really started squeezing. But this isn't too bad. I think we'd want to try and get a 2 dice hit off on this black hawk. Yeah, so they were going to come back. You were going to step in. And you get the 2 dice. I don't think you follow this unless you're going to blitz. You could follow and then blitz here. So that's the line. Get 2 knockdowns. You want to get as many knockdowns as you can. And if they're close to the ball, it's better. We'll see. Oh, I don't like coming in behind. I think I probably would have tried to get in the way. I think I would have come into this file here. For this piece. Although I guess if we're going to blitz like this, we can only roll a 1 in 9. Yeah, I don't hate it actually. I would have kept the loner there, right? Because all this loner is doing right now is tying up the strength 4 piece. So I don't think he needs to dodge there. Like, it's fine. You've got a bench. You can afford the loner to get knocked out. Like, because it probably won't get knocked out, and it just commits this black hole. I mean, yes, it gets pinned next turn. I guess you don't want it to get stuff. Okay, I can start to see it. So then maybe we could have based it a little bit differently. Maybe based them here, here. So they have to go backwards to commit to the stuff. And then the ball comes forward. Again, I think this file is what I would have targeted. Like, tried to get these guys. I know this 1 in 9. I might have been tempted to re-roll the 1 in 9 just to try and get someone into this. Because now the blitz comes here and it pushes it. It makes it harder for us to get back across. Whereas if they had the blitz in here, then we can bring everyone through. Apart from that, pretty standard turn. They get a bit lucky with some cheeky dodging, but that's fine, I guess. And yeah, I don't. You get away with on here, right? Because of that stun, I think this black hawk should probably have come to about here and been a real problem for you. But they go backwards instead. So again, the opponent is not very good here. At least on their offense, they're making some mistakes. The double safety. Okay, I mean it tells us that you're committing to dodging all of these pieces off. I think you really want to try and fight for this middle. I think this piece should definitely have come up here to get this a guaranteed 2 dice, even if this pushes. It's just piece efficiency, right? So if this player comes into here, then we can get a 2 dice here. Because instead we have to go with this, and then, we're not maximizing our blocks. A really good thing we can do on defense as Amazons is that we can use all our dodge to get extra blocks in. And the moment you start knocking down 3 or 4 black orcs, or 3 or 4 or 5 orcs on a turn, they really start to lose momentum because they've lost half their pieces. They can't block with half of them. So it gets really good really quickly. So something to think about there. When you've got a turn like this where it's turn 4, they haven't made progress, your first instinct is to cover this, but actually getting knockdowns here would be really helpful over the course of the drive. Because we're getting to the point now where if you can knock down these guys, they're sort of almost out of the drive. They might be around by turn 8, but they're almost out of the drive. So you can start to trade down your line women for their positionals, and it starts to get really good. But as it stands, we leave a few hits on. And they are going to win the middle here, which is a worry. When you're playing defense, you want to have the mid on defense. You're happy for them to win the sidelines because you can pin them and force an early score. But especially up until about turn 6, you want to hold the middle. This in my eyes would be a defeat. If I'm defending and I see the orcs here on turn 5, I think something's gone horribly wrong. Especially when I still have all 11 players on the pitch. So yeah, same to think about there. We've managed to get a bit scattered. But we'll see how they go. It looks like we should be able to try and stop this. This is a very useful trade-off, I guess, for us. I assume this blitz is going to come in here. Yeah, I made that annoying. So they've lost a black orc in this exchange, which is good. We can get this blitzer down. I think it's going to be the order of the play. Or this one. I guess this is a better odds of knockdown. But again, we want to keep away from the middle. I'd probably take this blitz instead over this one. But I can understand, like, I'm probably even wrong to take this blitz. I just really like forcing them down the sideline as much as possible, even at the end. The only exception is when they're trying to two-turn score, like elves, and just box off the sideline, so they have to come in the middle. So you get both angles to attack from. So yeah, we see some nice dodges. Lucky pow, but we have 3 rerolls on that, which is good. We take both blocks. I don't know about that. I think I might have tried to dodge here just to get another. Or if we're going to take this block, right? This is a really good block to take. If we're going to take it, I probably would have preferred to dodge. But if we are taking it, and we do get the knockdown. We need to follow, because then that frees up this blitzer for next turn. Whereas as it stands, this lineup can, like, these guys can just go back into position, and you've lost another 2 players. Like, you've lost. These are your best pieces, and they're on a lineup and a rookie blitzer. You really want to free as many of them up as you can, so that was always a follow. So just think about it like that. Like, when you're thinking about push or follow, think about what their next turn is going to be. What can these players really do next turn apart from do this? Because they're so slow. So you may as well base them. We're going to rock up and roll 2 skulls. I don't know about that blitz from them. I probably would have just put a bit more pressure on. I guess it's the base piece. They're going to probably start getting a bit frustrated because they can't get a removal on armor 7. It is what it is. At the moment, their offense looks pretty secure. This lineup needs to get about 3 squares next turn, and at the moment, it looks like they should be able to. We need to see GFIs. Oh my goodness, what are you? I guess you sort of they had to do this, and now you have a line to the ball. So yeah, your defense, although it wasn't the best, I think it's done enough here. We don't even follow. Yeah, this is a ball sack if ever I've seen one. Can we get there with 2 blitz block? I hope we can. Yeah, I guess that's a good. So I might have put them 1 square back. We'll see how the rest of the turn shakes out. But when you want to block off a lane like this, you probably want to cover the entirety. It's best to err on the side of the other forward though, so I think you're okay. Here comes the 1 dice. We fail the GFI, of course we do. Nice, we get the knockdown, and that's probably the drive. Especially when we do that. Not the best scatter, and again, if we had done this as we did earlier, this would be a free action, but we had a 10% chance that would not work. But we're Zons, so it doesn't matter, we just walk it. I probably would... if the first dodge was successful, I probably would have dodged here and then managed to get out and do it. Okay. Not a bad turn, not a bad turn. I think it's pretty solid. I like the 1 though. On the line up. Because that was their only real outlet, was to free this guy, and now that that's the knockdown, it's really difficult for them to do that, so... There is a Black Orc scoring threat, and they do have a reroll, so we have to be a little bit worried. So I'd probably look to try and base up that Black... Oh, that's very lucky for you. Because I was going to say, we need to be really worried about this Black Orc threat. We do lose a KO, but we'll trade a KO for them not scoring, I think. It's pretty solid. 2 down, but we have a bench, so it's okay. And we'll probably get... I think there's only 1 KO roll. So I think we just blitz this guy. I think the only play here is to blitz this Black Orc because it's the only scoring threat, and every single action you take that is not blitzing this Black Orc is a mistake. And I'll tell you why as you get through. Hold up. Let's just count squares quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 2 scoring threats here. We need to block this blitzer and push them here. We need to block this blitzer. We need to blitz this Black Orc. That's what we need to do this turn. So. Because the ball is in so many tackle zones that I wouldn't try. I just pull everyone through the scout, like bring these blitzers into here to get this 2 dice. Get this 2 dice blitz and then come back into here, take this 1 dice to end the turn. Like, that's all you need to do to secure this. because you can't score. You don't unless you run her. I guess another line is to run her up into scoring position exactly like now. We'll see. Oh, right. Sorry about the audio issues. I'm gonna just take. Oh, Snake was invisible. Yeah, we're going to go for a very high risk play, and now they have a really good chance of scoring. It's a 3+, 4+. Like, which is a not impossible chance. It's like a coin flip. You had a much easier line to stop this score. So that's what separates like a decent coach, I want to say, like a coach who knows what they're doing, from a good coach. The good coach will probably never do the line that you just did on their turn 7. They will just make sure that it's 0-0. As it stands, we don't get punished, but if that like 40% play, 35% play came off, then you're gonna be not winning the game, right? As opposed to the dodge into crazy pickup play that you had to try and get 1-0 up, or you can just win 1-0. If you need to trust your offense to do the job. We're going for surfs. Can't see any. I think we're just going to punch a non-block piece. So yeah, not a very strong turn 7 for me there. I think you either had to put the score threat up straight away and then do this stuff. That's a weird apple. Or just knock down all the scoring threats so they can't score and push this guy out of range, and then you guarantee the score or guarantee the not score. There's 2 lines to take on that turn. So yeah, I don't know if me and Rogue have covered the same game, but I'm just articulating. I missed the KO. How many did we get back? None. Alright, okay. This can get difficult, and that last turn, that last dodge was also completely unnecessary. It was a dead half, right? If you're armor 7, you want to risk armor 7 as little as you can. So that last dodge really not needed. It's nil. If I know that it's 0-0 and I can't influence the score, I'm just going to take all the 2 ice blocks and then attack. I'm not going to risk breaking armor, especially with armor 7. If you were playing with like high elves or dark elves, maybe if you were like high armor, I don't know, it's difficult. I don't like dodging on turn 8 when it's like in garbage time. You don't want to be dodging because it's just an extra chance to kill your own players, and it's a slim chance, but it's like it's a chance that you don't need to take. So yeah, but it's nice. I know game. It's nice. So we're going to offense. So I think we're down a player, which kind of sucks for Zons. So we're going to have to be careful that we don't get traded down here. And by traded down, I mean they just base all our players with one of their players and use the excess to hit the ball. Because we're already down a player because we've got the ball carrier. So this is going to turn into a difficult one. We lose a turn. That's actually kind of good because it means that if we go for the quickest score, then it gives them less time to go for 1-1. But remember that like we're down players. They have Mighty Blow. I think at this point I'm looking at a draw and thinking 0-0 is good. 1-1 is great. 1-0 is lucky. If the coach knows what they're doing. If they know how to punish this. So I like that you've come up here. I really hate this base. I'll tell you why. It's because there's no way, if you bring them here, there's literally no way they can punch the ball from this angle. The only way they can get to the ball is with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They literally can't. They have to take like 3, 2, 2. So if you just put them here, it helps this assist here. This helps this piece. Basically, when you're on offense, you really don't want unnecessary cage points. This piece should be here or here or here. Probably here because it helps this blitz angle, right? But here she's doing nothing, and you need every single piece to be doing something. And we've 1 in 9 the dodge before moving this catcher. This is really sloppy. Because like, what was she gonna do that the cat? Hang on, I need to. Maybe you've got a point here, and I'm missing something. But like, what was this dodge doing that was more important than her free movement? I can't see anything, right? One line you could have taken was to put the catcher up into their backfield before we do these dodges, because they still have to find a path. Yeah, you've got a fair bit of dodge, and they don't have any block on this LOS. They need to find a 6. They might not do that some of the time. It's like a 33% or whatever it is. 2 in 6, 1 in 3 chance for them to find a 6 and give them 2 dice block. Hang on, I need to get the door. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I'm just going to check Twitch. No one's in chat yet. Good. Okay. So, as I was... What was I on about? Oh yeah, this was a sloppy turn 9. So when you go down players, it's very easy to think, oh, I'm never going to win. But when you go down players, that's when you need to focus the most. That's when you need to play the best, not when you want to start switching off. So yeah, we'll see how they take these hits. If I was them, I would just base this catcher and mark her out of the play. Because she's probably going to get done. That's probably going to happen anyway. She might as well be in scoring range to make them maybe commit 2 players instead of 1. If we can get that 2-to-1 trade, that's like 1 player removed. For them. Probably a high strength one too. So yeah, as it stands, we're like, oh, I don't want to 1-in-9 dodge the catcher now, because it might fail. But they are just going to put on the squeeze here. It's not actually that, we have an outlet though, right? They push so far across. Yeah, now he realises, and now it's difficult. Oh, we first action dodge, dude. Okay, right. So when you're in a spot like this, you don't need to first action dodge blitz. We have a line open to the catcher with the catch skill. So can we bring you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? That's double GFI. Okay, what I might do here is I might base with the thrower and then like bring in for the 4+ handoff and then blitz downfield. Because there's no way we're winning this fight. That's me. They're not winning this fight. So I'd probably go for the switch up play. And then once we have the ball and the blitzers on the floor, then we would try dodge her out to get onto the safety. It's high risk, but like it gets even worst case scenario, the ball goes down over here away from their entire team. Whereas now they're just going to hit the ball. Yeah, Zons are tricky on offense sometimes. They're definitely more of a defensive team. So we'll see what happens. Gonna come in for a big mighty blow here. Only 2 dice, and they don't find it, so it's good. I probably would have re-rolled that if I was them. Because there's now still risk of this happening. So yeah, when you set up, you showed that you knew the catcher was the important piece, because she was the only one who could facilitate like an LP sort of play. She's dead now. Which is a problem. Apo's death, lovely. And I suspect he might have given up on the game at this point. But yeah, when they base you up like that and you can't really do much, you need to find the outlet play. And you are human, so Agi does suck. But you have dodge and you have catch, so you might just need to try something here. Maybe 2 GFIs with the thrower to base, and then like blitz or blitz the catcher to get clear or something, and then you can try a little quick pass. I don't know. Or at least get the ball back over the back. Get the ball back here. If you don't like any of it, just get the ball back here. Give them an extra turn. Make them spread out. Right, pretend you're an elf team. Like elf offense, you just spread them out as much as you can and then take advantage of your higher Agi. You don't in this case, but you have Agi skills, so that kind of counts, right? And that's kind of the premise of Amazons when you don't have any guard yet. Because you're supposed to be fighting them and winning because you have loads of skills, but at the moment you don't even have any guards, so it's really tragic. Yeah, you realise too late. I think this should have been here. Because who can get to you, right? If you go here, who can get to you? Nobody. Whereas now we've got to split stuff off the floor for 1 dice, which could just power fish. Not a bad turn though. I didn't even watch the turn, I was too busy talking, but well played. There's a big time pow pow. That's what they kind of needed. I can't believe they didn't take the ball hit. I'm really disappointed in them for that. Unless there's a different line that I'm not seeing. But that should have been a 1-die hit with block. Because at the moment you can get downfield and secure a 0-0. All we need to do is get downfield. Maybe survive like a... Okay, this gets hard. I guess this works as well for them, but you're still just a 1 in 9 back. And there's a random 1-die block that gets punished. They've only got 2 rerolls now. It's good. And there. We can switch up again here. I like that you've carried on. Part of me would think I'd commit to the elf offense plan and carry on the throwing woman, but if you're going to fight like this, you might as well carry oblige. I understand, but if you get into a situation where you're down players against a stronger team, you might have to start thinking about agi, and that's when you start having to carry on to the pass piece. Because then you've got options. Then they have to think about a quick pass to a catcher, as well as the grind up the pitch, and it's very difficult to defend both sometimes. Especially if you're a newer coach, and this coach you're playing against has made some pretty elementary mistakes so far. Again, we're just basing it. I don't like the base up. I mean, you don't really have a choice, but could have come back here maybe instead. I just don't like bait. Like, this is a free 1 dice with block, and it's just giving up extra rolls. We finally get some sort of threat. This should really have been the capture on your turn 9, but you've stalled it out kind of well, inadvertently. I don't know whether you intended to stall, but if you intended to stall, well done. It did cost you a capture, but it's kind of working. Otherwise, yeah, you could have done that a bit earlier. I think I would have preferred the quick score to the stalling play here, because if you can just get 1-0 up, then you can sort of put the onus on them, make them think. Whereas when you're stalling, you can get put under a lot of pressure like this very quickly. And you need to find a really good play every turn and then hope to get lucky. I don't know, it's tough. And I say that as a rat coach who's had to deal with line rats trying to stall. It's not fun. They're going to go for the big old meat cube. Can we get out of this? I think we can. We could try a handoff. Oh, we dodged first. I don't like these dodge first actions. Like, non-crit. We had a handoff there. I mean, yeah, we won in 9 all the time, so it doesn't really matter what we do. But that was a 2-die. We had a 2-dice block there. And I think I would have taken the 2-dice block first. Like, we're going to just block this guy off. And that frees up a bit of room to manoeuvre. I don't know. As it stands, the ball's going down. Yeah, they do use the reroll to find a power here. But we could still get 0-0. They haven't picked it up, they've only got 1 reroll. So the stalling job might do enough for 0-0. Let's see. I do have to respect the blitzer here, she could easily get into scoring range. So it might be okay still. This needs to stay on the pitch here. I think if she goes off, we're in trouble. Okay, just a stun. Might be able to get her back on for turn 16. They kind of have to pick up here, and if they don't pick up, oh, they do pick up. That's a problem. That's a problem. Well, we can hit him, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can't even hit them. Oh, we're into scary territory now. I don't like that. That was a really weird block from them. And it does 1 in 9, so it's okay. But if they'd rolled a push, they were only going to be able to push you to here. So you got a bit unlucky there. They made a mistake, and you didn't get the good outcome. Would you just take a block? There's not much we can do here. Just try and get safeties. This is a really tough block, so we managed to get out. GFI fails. I really want to get this blitzer back into play. I don't know. If we're not, I guess base the ball is important. Yeah. Now we need to get her. She needs to come in here. Don't GFI. Oh, just step out. I like it. Unlucky. Unlucky. I think you did have to dodge there because you don't want to give up a mighty blow hit out. Actually, do you? Because it's still it's a 5+ for them to clear her off. But I think a push does the job as well. They can funnel in here. So yeah, I think you are okay to get her on the floor. At least try and get out of it, I suppose. 3 dice, power. Now this gets sketchy. Ouch. This is a problem with Zons. You can't really survive a fight. Oh, that's a death. So you've lost 2 players this game. But it's CCL, so it doesn't matter, we can just remake. So yeah, this is what I'm saying, like, if we would have kept them base, I'd have had to do that with this blitzer, maybe? I don't know. It's definitely, when you have Zons, it's definitely, you sort of have to rely a bit on the dodge, especially when you've got setups like this where you down players. Your skills, you have to sort of lean on the skills, I think, a little bit. As it stands, they're doing a really good job here of locking you up, but when you're so far down players, it's not really an achievement to do that. I think you could, like, any... Oh, this is weird. I don't like this handoff. Could he not? Oh, he might not have been able to get into range. Okay. And then they can get to here, and we're on to... So it's a 3+... Oh, we can't even get... That was a good GFI. That was a risky GFI. Like, could they not have moved someone else to get there? Okay. Either way it worked, so... Game's over and you lose 1-0. So yeah, I think that KO on turn 8... I think the turn 7 and 8 of that first half were not great. Like, I think you'd sort of you sort of let the pressure off, and I think that's because you thought, oh, they're not scoring now, right? So you sort of like got a bit. You lost the tightness of your, like, I'd say tightness in like the accuracy of your play, and you left them the back door, but it didn't pay off. You did lose a lineman window almost as punishment. But then on your offense, you had a really poor turn 9, I think. I say really poor. It was a good first half of the turn. I think, again, I made a point that, and this goes for offense in general, you really don't need you need to always think, do I need this cage corner? Because if they're on a cage corner, they're literally doing nothing. They only come into play if the opponent decides to attack them, right? So the opponent can just say, whatever, I'll just punch your front line that's now weakened by 1 piece. And you'll find that good defensive teams do that a lot. If you full cage on them unnecessarily, they will just fight you and win on the front line, especially playing Bash. Elves, it's a bit different. And again, with human teams, I think you need to decide when you go into your offensive setup, can I do this for the Bash style of offense? Do I need to set up a quick 2-turn play or like a 3-turn play and get scoring threats down the pitch? And you need to decide how you're going to do that. And I think even a fundamental thing, if you are going to go for the roll-out scoring threats, you need to do that before you dodge off the LOS. Because dodging off the LOS with Zons, it's not great, because you have defensive skills and they don't have blocks, so they need to roll a 6. And they can sometimes just roll 6s, but not all the time. So you can afford to do other moves before you dodge off the LOS. That's my advice. So yeah. It's a bit early for me. I don't know. I haven't mentored in a little while, so I might be a bit rusty. Sorry if you felt more insulted than taught here. I do tend to come across as a bit like cutting, I guess, when I do stuff like this. But I'm honestly just trying to. I haven't watched the game first. I'm just saying what I see. So, and sometimes, and you know, some people do find that helpful. So hopefully you take a couple of. If the main thing I want you to take is the cage corner thing, because that was like a standard, like, oh, I've learnt the game, I make it cage, but you're not applying. Sort of like you're taking the. How am I trying to say this? Basically, what I'm saying is, I get what you're saying when you're like, it just feels like I do the same thing, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, or like it's just dice. Even like there's a set way of playing, but like even when you get to that level, there's still lots of stuff you can do that push the odds that much more in your favor. Just make the blitz that much harder, make the play for them that much harder. And then eventually, over a sample size of a few games, you know, you'll find extra wins and extra draws come from the little things that you've done that are slightly different each game to what's happened before, if you get what I mean. Because the trick is to not play like a decent Blood Bowl AI, and to play like a person who evaluates each game separately. I don't know. Again, that sounded kind of condescending. I'm sorry. But early in the morning, I was sort of just rambling to try and get my head around it. Hopefully this has been helpful. I suspect Rogues was more helpful, but I'll stop talking now and get about my day. So see you later, guys. Catch you all next time.